Good evening, afternoon, whatever. It's evening. I just came here to talk about my least favorite type of person that I've encountered as a therapist and before I was a therapist. And those are called professional victim borderlines. They have a nice term for them now. Professional victim borderline sounds really good, right? So what they are is they are a person who always ends up to be a victim of something happening to them. And it's usually with a partner, but can be with other people close to them too. And they're in a relationship and they are suddenly enlightened to deception. And, think that partner is deceiving them and then they escape. That's like the pattern. But how they get there is really twisted. They do gaslighting in a little bit of a different way than some narcissist just telling you you're crazy. That didn't happen. Professional victim borderlines are okay with something that's happening and they're in an interaction, and then eventually they somehow create a scenario that you have abused them or done them wrong and hurt them in some way. And they're very dramatic about it. A lot of the times they're like crying and, hysterical. And they go to their friends and they talk about, how terrible you are and how hurt they are and how abused they are. When really, that's not happening. And so what they try to do is to elicit a response from you so that they can prove that you're a bad person and that you're the abuser, okay? So this has happened to me so many times where somebody was being passive aggressive and playing a certain role in order to get me to lash out so then they can say, oh, I'm the victim. See how awful she is? This happened a lot of times in my life, and these people are fucked up and dangerous. So especially if you have a tendency towards confrontation, which I did most of my life, like I'll confront you. I'll come right up to you and be like, what's wrong with you? What is your problem? Blah, blah, blah. And before, when I was young, it was like, I'd come at you and be like, you want to fight? But now I'm just, going to confront you and be like, what is actually happening right now? This is what I see. This is what I observe. And so they're the ones that get me the most tempted into anger and to lash out, because I know that they're full of shit and they play this passive aggressive role, but exactly what they want me to do is to lash out so that they can say that they've been victimized and that I'm so terrible. And I just find that to be the most toxic trait of a human being on the planet, and the most weak, the most scared, the most inauthentic that there is. I'd rather have a sociopath try to manipulate me and torture me for their own pleasure than have the professional victim borderline manipulate and try to mindfuck me for their own hiding of their own disorder, right? Because that's really what it is. And a complete inability to face anything about their traumas in their life or own anything or take any responsibility. They always got to be the victim of somebody else or something else. And then, they move on to the next relationship and they're like, yeah, it was that person. I suffered so bad and, I was such a bad person. No. You have a fucking pattern of bullshit. And you take it out on everybody else because you don't want to take any responsibility for it. And I just did this to myself. And it's toxic. So watch out for the professional victim borderline who seems sweet and seems amazing and wants to, do everything you do and wants you to tell them everything about yourself and, all the things that you think, and then take that very thing that you said and you trusted them with and say, oh, I think you're thinking that of me. I think you're now projecting that here. You're acting that out again. It is a joke. The only thing you can do to remedy that situation is go no contact. You have to block them on your email, block them on your social media, if they don't do that first by playing the victim. And as soon as you do that, they're going to try to get at you through your email, through fake numbers, all that stuff. If they're like really intense, because they got to win. They got to make you look like the abuser. So don't let them do it. Block, 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 block. The minute that you give them any second worth of your energy to get into conversation, to fight back, to try to stand up for yourself, to try to set a boundary, you will be the abuser and it will be your fault. And that'll be the ticket that they need. So get away from them. No contact, block them, whatever you got to do. It is the most toxic thing that I've ever encountered. I've encountered it before I was a therapist, and I encountered it as a therapist. And you know, I feel like that's part of like spiritual warfare. I feel like that's an attack. Sometimes, and these people are never going to be right in therapy. Even though they're in therapy, they're like manipulating the therapist just like a good sociopath would or narcissist. So, you know, you got to watch out for this shit, right? Don't let them get to you. Don't let them push your buttons. Don't go for them, their throat, you know, like I wanted to do. Be like, woosah. The best way to get through to this is to stop, no contact, allow other people around you and them to see for themselves whatever the situation is. Just disconnect your energy completely. Spiritually put up a shield and protect and seal your aura. All right? Just saying.